one is that's the one. Can you go back to the population matters, number 25? One on from that. It's one which says population matters, climate change is caused by the number of climate change Earths. Should come up as number 25. Just wait, I think it should come up. We turned it into a teacher. I'll read it to you anyway. Climate change, we're all climate changers. There are too many of us. Another million every 5 days. So now this next slide is a well-said thing by Kenneth Goldman. Anyone who believes exponential growth can go on forever in the finite world is either a madman or an economist, and certainly not a biologist. It's no coincidence that the person who set me off on this road was a biologist. And if the world was run by biologists rather than economists, we might be better off because they understand the interdependence of the web of life. They understand the Gaia principle. Next slide. This one shows the very first article I wrote about all these things, and it's in the St. Bartholomew's Hospital, London, Medical Journal in 1963. It's not as though it's just something that I've recently become involved in, and for so many years, like many of us in this room in fact, we have not been listened to, but hopefully now we will be in the nick of time. Next slide. This is about Thomas Robert Malthus. Let me read what he said. The power of population is infinitely greater than the power in the earth to produce subsistence for man. This implies a strong and constantly operating check on population from the difficulty of subsistence. This difficulty must necessarily be severely felt by a large portion of mankind. What he really meant by that, and he said elsewhere, is that population tends to grow geometrically, whereas food production at that time would only be able to grow arithmetically, and he could see a big gap developing. Malthus was vilified then, and ever since, for letting the world starve, as though he said that that was all that could happen. What these people who vilified him were really doing, they were shooting the messenger. The next slide shows how it became possible for him, that Malthus, to seem to be proved wrong, but only until about now. Next slide. The reputation of Malthus was through oil. This is a picture of those oil wells burning into waste at the time of the First Petroleum War in the Gulf in 1990. You look at all that oil burning and you say, what a waste, burning all that black gold. And at the time, urgent steps were taken to put out those well powers that Saddam Hussein had started. But the point is, we are extravagantly wasting far, far more oil than that was burnt in those oil powers. And new discoveries are just not being made fast enough to seize humankind's unbelievable gluttony for this precious stuff, which has been created over eons of prehistoric time. The world now burns, as you see there, 5,334 million gallons of oil or gas equivalent every single 24 hours. That is basically unsustainable. Next slide. So basically, Malthus was only refuting because of fossil fuels. Fossil fuels to produce fertilizers, and also the tractors and the transport. And also the miracle breeds of grain that were invented by Norman Borlaug of the Green Revolution. That meant that we were able to see a steady increase of population numbers, 7-fold since Malthus' day. So we're now approaching 7,000 million. But the peak is upon us. And when it becomes impossible to find new oil reserves and pump them out quick enough to keep pace with the consumption around the world, then the price will go rocketing up. Soon the prices of $100 a barrel, which have recently been reached, will seem unbelievably cheap. And the green alternative energies, wind and solar, etc., of course they've not been researched as they should, but they do have a built-in problem. A problem that you are receiving the energy in real time each day, rather than being able to get hold of a gallon of oil, which is the energy accumulated over thousands of years. Guillebaud, the chap I mentioned, won the Nobel Prize for being the father of the green revolution. But he actually was and is an advocate of stabilizing population. He views his work as buying humanity some time in which to solve the population problem. It's very sad that he wouldn't listen to Norman Guillebaud. Next slide. So this is the one that starts, it's number 33. Mahatma Gandhi said, the world has enough for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's greed. Now that second statement is completely true, but the first may no longer be true, because we probably now have too many everyone's for all of us to live, let's say, a modest Australian lifestyle. Next slide. Humans currently utilize about 130% of the world's total biological capacity. That refers to the forestry, the fisheries, the cropland, etc. We're destroying an area the size of Somalia of forests each year. And I've heard that burning of rainforests itself at the moment is creating about 30% of all carbon dioxide entering our atmosphere. But it gets worse. By 2050, the IUCN Worldwide Fund for Nature estimates we will need 200% of all the biocapacity on the planet. So there's there at the bottom of the slide. What does that mean? It really means either another planet, or there would have to be half as many of us. So this is a very stark slide. A guide to population control methods. On the left, contraception or family planning, which many people, including religious people, reject as being artificial or anti-life. Or on the right, the only other alternatives. Next slide. Because the planet is finite, stabilization has to happen one way or the other. And the big question is, which way will Homo sapiens, so-called, choose? Those who make peaceful changes impossible make violent changes inevitable. Next slide. Here's a very sad slide from the conference of my birth. I'm sorry, this lecture is not becoming exactly a bundle of laughs, but that's the way we're going. Stabilization must happen, and if we don't do it the gentle way, then most likely it will happen one of these nasty ways. And as you see at the bottom, we now have to add in that climate change is going to cause further problems, particularly for the poor people of Africa. I thought you needed a little bit of light relief.